Clayton County father grapples with an unbearable loss. Back in June, somebody shot and killed his son at a Riverdale apartment complex off of Highway 85. Well, now he and police want the gunman off the streets and in jail. Fox 5's Deidre Dukes joins us live from Clayton County Police Headquarters. Deidre, the young man's parents say they won't rest until they get justice for their son.
That's right. Norman Johnson's parents say that they are going to do everything they can to make sure that his killer is put behind bars. And that includes increasing the reward in this case. We'll tell you the amount it is now at in just a bit. But they do say that they won't rest until the killer is behind bars. They're going to do everything they can to get justice for their son.
Now, wouldn't this be a great case for Joy Reid to take on? I mean, listen, look. She can't take on every case, but these parents seem determined, and their determination is inspiring. And it really lets you know what kind of kid they raised. I haven't seen this video yet, but just judging from this description, I'm sure that he's a dynamite kid. Because a hole was left in their lives, and they're not resting. And it really, I hope that you guys share this video. I really hope they do get some closure, and I hope the person who did this to their kid does go to jail again. Because let's be honest, in the stand, the majority of the violent crimes are committed by repeat offenders. I forgot what the number was in D.C. It's like 80 or 90% when these violent crimes, they're people who out on bond for a violent crime, on parole for a violent crime, on probation for a violent crime, some form of fashion have gotten some kind of break for a previous violent crime. So hopefully the guy who did this goes to jail again.
That's right. Norman Johnson's parents say that they are going to do everything they can to make sure that his killer is put behind bars. And that includes increasing the reward in this case. We'll tell you the amount it is now at in just a bit. But they do say that they won't rest until the killer is behind bars. They're going to do everything they can to get justice for their son.
He was targeted. For what, I don't know. But whatever it was, it couldn't have been enough to take his life.
Norman Johnson III was his parents' second child, their eldest son. Months after his murder, the killer remains at large.
You got to get people like this off of the street. It's just because if they're not remorseful about what they've done, then that means they might be able to do it again.
Norman's father says his son had been out on his own for about a year. The young barber was an entrepreneur who had dreams of owning his own barber shop one day.
Those of you who've been with the channel for a while know that being a barber in the stand is highly dangerous. Dangerous, Jack. There's two theories. Okay. One, well, this is a common occupation for Sunmen, and Sunmen make up 95% of the fatal gunshot victims, murder victims in these cities. So you put those two together, you're going to have a lot of barbers get killed. Then there's my theory that I have, another theory that I have, where the barber shop, what it means in the community. It's a place where Sunmen commune. It's a place where Sunmen hang out even when they're not getting their hair cut. Like the barbershop in my neighborhood, a lot of the neighborhoods I've lived in, guys would just hang out up there. Guys would hustle, like, had a little marijuana or whatever, or DVDs or whatever they were doing. They do it around there because that would be a place where, there would be traffic. Guys would hang out, chop it up with the barbers, yada, yada, yada. The barbers are all Sun men. Most of them are, from, the street or from the community, real deal from the community. And being in that proximity to so many Sun men, it's not like you're around like Fortune 500, not around college kids. You're around Sun men. So being that in that proximity to that many Sun men puts you in danger just because of the proximity. So it could be either one of those, but we see a lot of barbers killed. And it's just the darndest thing, man.
Norman's father says his son had been out on his own for about a year. The young barber was an entrepreneur who had dreams of owning his own barber shop one day.
He wanted to make his mother proud and do it all himself, and he didn't want any help.
That's a great kid. A kid that's not begging your parents for money, and as you can see, his dad looks like a great guy. Looks like the type of guy who's made a good living for himself. The way you can just tell by his countenance, by his demeanor, that he's somebody who's accomplished things in life, who's, you look at the backdrop, you can tell he has a nice house. Somebody who's provided a great life for his wife and his kids. And a guy who's very reasoned, measured, has a good, spirit, a good soul. And these are the type of people that, you root for. And this channel is not about thugs and gangbangers and ghetto gossip. It's about men like him, most of the stories, and women like his wife or whatever, So I really do hope these people get the justice they're looking for. But yeah, a good kid is a kid that's not begging mama for nothing, not calling home like me, always asking for money. I remember like 5 years ago, I was asking my mother for money. 38 years old. Wow. I need some money, man. I was down bad, man. I was down bad, but I need to ask my mom for money. She came through, but this young man wanted to find his way, and he wanted to do it on his own, and he was determined. Says a lot about where he come from, and says a lot about, his upbringing and his parents. So salute to him and salute to his parents.
He wanted to make his mother proud and do it all himself, and he didn't want any help. So he was a good kid.
Norman's roommate discovered his body in their apartment at this complex on the 5000 block of Georgia Highway 85 in Riverdale on June 9th. The Johnsons don't know of anyone who would want to harm Norman. Mr. Johnson says nothing was taken from his son's residence, and there was no sign of forced entry.
He had to open the door for someone that he knows, and that's just my guess. I don't see anyone just seeking him out at random just to kill him.
The Johnsons say they won't rest until the killer is behind bars, until they get justice for their son.
Death is permanent. I'll never see my son again, and not till I get to heaven.
Now, I know the elephant in the room, a lot of people looking at the kid. Earlier pictures showed him with face tattoos, and he's got the hairdo and everything. This generation, that doesn't necessarily mean that you're gangbanging or you're hardcore, or you're into something. He may have just been, shaking out sudden a little bit of weed on the side. Somebody came to rob him or something like that. Or, somebody could have thought he had some money from saving up. He could have been talking about saving up money for his own shop, and somebody heard it. Well, told their boys that were, about it, and they came and, pay him a visit, and then surprised him with producing a weapon and trying to rob him and end up killing him. Could have been a lot of things, but he may have been, wayward, trying to, he just that life. You're a barber. You're meeting a lot of dudes. You're young brother, man. It's rough. I think about it sometimes, like when I was younger, and I wasn't like hardcore or nothing like that. I was just a regular guy. And I got in a whole bunch of stuff, Jack. You hear me? Whole bunch of stuff, man. It's just part of being a brother, man. It's a black thing you wouldn't understand, man. I really can't put it any other way than that, man. When you're a young brother out here, you're in your early 20s, there's so much killing and murder going on, fighting and stuff, and then you're just a regular guy, and you just amidst that, and sometimes it jumps out and gets you.
The Johnsons say they won't rest until the killer is behind bars, until they get justice for their son.
Death is permanent. I'll never see my son again, and not till I get to heaven.
Now, the initial reward offered in this case was a $2,000 reward. We learned today that as of today, that reward now stands at $5,000 in hopes it will lead to an arrest in this case. Anyone with information is asked to contact Clayton County Police. That's the latest here in Clayton County. Deidre Dukes, Fox 5 News.
We hope that father gets some answers. Deidre, thanks.